or Practical podcast. Factual 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 or Practical podcast. Welcome to the Factual or Practical podcast with Charlie and Chad and Jump On Turtles. The podcast is about to begin, but first, we'd like to thank you all for stopping through. Charlie and Chad. Factual or Practical podcast. 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 Yeah. All right. Welcome to the next episode of the Factual or Practical podcast, man. I'm Jump On Turtles.
I'm Charlie.
And today we have a special guest, Jamir. He is not video chatting with us, but he is on audio voice chat with us. So what's going on, Jamir? How you doing, dude?
Jamir, how you doing?
Well, first I just want to say thank you guys for having me on your podcast, number one, and I'm doing pretty good, so I'm all right.
Awesome, man. That's great. That's good to
Yeah.
hear. So we got a couple. I got a couple topics already dialed in that I wanted to touch on, and then I figured we can just go straight into whatever topics you have that you want to talk about.
Agree. Okay.
First and foremost, Hillary's trial is set. She tried to get out of it, and she couldn't get out of it. Her trial set September 9th this year. She's going to court. I guess for the whole email thing. I don't even know what it's for anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I heard maybe it has something to do with. I was watching a documentary about sex trafficking or whatever, with kids and shit. Yeah. So it might be something dealing with the the kids and sexual stuff and all of that. So and they've been arresting, they've been catching some of the other people with lots of money. Uh, they've been finding out that some of these people had some involvement with sex trafficking or something like that. I haven't been really keeping up with all the news, but if you look it up,
Well, yeah, I was actually gonna get that. I was gonna get to that. The celeb sex ring. We have another person arrested.
Yeah.
Maxine Gillis.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah. She was,
Something like that.
Jeffrey Epstein's procurer and kind of like handler and kind of like pimp and business partner.
Yeah, maybe like his partner in crime almost.
Yeah, a lot of times she would help groom like the underage like women.
So here's the question:
hand them over to them.
Is she gonna die? Is she gonna commit suicide before she gets to talk to any police?
There was like a lot of rumors about where she was. They ended up finding her in New Hampshire, I think. That's where it was. They arrested her. She was supposed to be showing up for court mid-June, and I guess that didn't happen. And now they got her. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all crazy. I mean, the whole thing's crazy. I hope that they actually get something out of this bitch.
Almost a year to the day that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested,
suicide? Okay.
or he killed himself. I don't remember.
Probably killed himself.
It's been a year since that happened.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was June 2nd or something.
Well, the FBI always works fast. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Hopefully we see some kind of results from it. That's big news, but what wasn't big news was of Hillary's trial. No one was talking about it.
Yeah.
You see a few Facebook posts, and they're real small and minimal, and who knows what the hell's going on.
There's so many other distractions, you know what I'm saying? That, like, especially with all the riots and the virus and stuff like that, man.
Yeah, the riots, the protests, the virus, all that. The whole point is that they're trying to fucking distract you. I was reading this article. I forget this lady's name, but she was into like some kind of artificial robotic stuff where it would sense your nerves to put into the robot and tell it what to do through your nerves. And she was just getting to the point where they're about to start doing it directly from the brain instead of the nerve end where the nerve meets it.
So like before they'd put like on a tip of your finger, and they would sense the nerve there, but now they're about to go to the brain. She went to go meet with her friend. She was like about to go to this big like convention, and she
Hmm.
ended up dead in her car, and they said she committed suicide. But there was no, they don't know how she died. She was just laying in her car dead, and they said she had a panic attack, and that could be why she died. Why she
Huh.
committed suicide. But she didn't commit. There was no evidence of committing suicide. And her last text was to her mom, or her tweet, her Twitter, and she said, "The Matrix is real. Something, something." And this you don't hear about this kind of shit, but this
Yeah.
happened. You know what I mean? Like, this
That's
is
weird as hell.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that 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 definitely happens under our noses.
It's
A lot
like,
of people do. And when you try to, especially when you try to bring this stuff up, you know, it's almost impossible to relay this kind of information to the average person out there on the street. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly,
Because
bro.
you
It's
know,
so
yeah.
hard to like sound
yeah,
sensible whenever you're talking about stuff. I also saw like a
yeah,
thing with Ellen, and it was a picture of Ellen, and she's like, I forget what she's doing. It's a really scratchy picture, and it's fuzzy, and it's like, oh, the adrenochrome is wearing off
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
now that they got Maxine, whatever, Gillian,
Gillian. Yeah.
Maxwell, whatever. And you know what the adrenochrome is, right?
no, explain it.
All right. So, I mean, I'm not like an expert on it or anything, but basically, they take it from the adrenal gland of children. It's supposed to be, and like it's supposed to.
Bringing
It's
youth
like the yeah, it's
and
like the elixir
energy.
of life or something.
Yeah, so like they all say like a lot of conspiracy theories say like the Queen of England does it, all the way down to like Jay-Z, all the way from people with power, the biggest power people in the world, Bill Gates and all these guys. They're saying all these guys do this.
Apparently, you
That's where
can.
all the kids go missing that are kidnapped into countries and all that. That's what they're always saying. These are
Yeah. I mean, apparently you
Right,
can
right.
buy synthetic ones, a synthetic adrenochrome online. I don't really know
Hmm.
what that would help with. I don't know. Sounds kind of like snake oil, you know.
close.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole crazy idea that
I mean,
I'm not saying it's wrong, but
I'm not saying I disbelieve it either. Like,
yeah, I don't say I just. I'm not saying I disbelieve it either. It's who knows what the fuck is really going on. And then okay, I don't mean to go along the topics real fast. We don't really have a lot of visual uh, preparations today because we're gonna let Jamir talk about what he wants to talk about.
okay,
But Chaz is no longer. There is no
yeah,
more Chaz. You know what Chaz is, right, Jamir?
Nah.
That was the. I guess we could just call it the fortification in the middle of Seattle
yeah,
that the
Hmm.
protesters took and created their own little Chaz, which is short for
the autonomous zone.
autonomous
They ended
zones.
up
I
changing the
mean,
name, but
yeah, whatever their
it's
name was, but it's the autonomous zone, which means that they didn't follow the law, any law. They went by no law, and they had a fortified area for a while, but I guess there was some violence, and the police rushed in,
yeah,
and they just took it back.
yeah.
Damn.
You didn't hear about
Okay.
that?
Nah, man. That's the thing. Like, I try to keep up with the news when I can, but a lot of times it's the same shit all the time. And a lot of this stuff, especially like the stuff on the news, like it could be predictable. Like once you like I could look at it a few weeks, you know, and then all of a sudden, with the same stuff over and over, you can kind of see like what's gonna happen. And
Exactly, bro. It's
as
it's
far
it's
as
history
like
repeating
with the
itself.
whole Black Lives Movement and things like that. For like yeah, and it's like and then it's just like the Democrat versus the Republican. So you have the people that now the people that don't agree with the movement are now involved and they're trying to, say that this is why that the movement is not fantastic movement. Then on the one side, you got a situation where people think that the movement is a radical thing, like it's going to change the world or whatever the case may be. You have a situation that is set up a situation that is set up to make people go against each other, regardless of the fact. Like, with the whole Trump, pro Trump, no Trump, Democrat, Republican, all of this shit kind of separates it from becoming from as to be get together as one. To really deal with the real problems.
And
African kids going missing, you know,
that's the problem. I mean, that's the
being killed.
problem. The problem is that the only people that speak out are the people that have the most polarizing views. So the only people that are really speaking out are the ones that are far left and far right. And the people that are in the middle that agree with some things but don't agree with some things, they don't want to say it because right when you say you don't agree with something, you're automatically assumed to be on that far opposite side now. Or you say you do agree with something, you're automatically assumed to be on that side now. So there's no point in
Exactly.
saying, "Oh, I'm going to stand for this," because now XYZ is going to all put me in this category, and then or I'm not going to stand for this. They're going to put me in this other category, and it seems to a lot of people it's not even worth saying anything anymore.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like now, like you don't even have to hold the gun to somebody and say, you better not say this. All you look more. A lot of people have phones in their hands now. You know what I'm saying? And they can look this stuff up, uh, pick a side, or whatever, and or look at the news, look at the newspapers and stuff, read all that shit, and decide what is good, what is bad based on what they see. And keep in mind, like people, I feel like certain folks they don't have a way of looking at the newspaper, the media, shit like that.
Well,
They
the
just kind
thing
of
is, the thing is that it deludes you away from the idea. It pushes you away from the idea of making decisions for yourself whenever you can't say your opinion or you'll automatically be assumed to be one thing, you know? It's a whole stupid dichotomy that's built within it that is creating things that are it's just gonna get more and more polarizing and more everybody's gonna get farther and farther away from each other. Eventually
right.
I don't know. It's gonna have to either meet somewhere or something.
Yeah, and I feel like
So
also, well, like sometimes, yeah, the information is only partly there. So someone makes their decision based on the information that's available, but they don't look into it as much. You know what I mean?
right, right.
And so, like,
I agree.
if you get your information from the newspaper or the TV, they might only be giving you a certain slant, and then like it might be sensible to take that position unless everything goes out there, unless there's
Mm,
everything you can consider all the pros and cons.
Well, and that's the thing. Another thing is the problem that, and this is why we are making this podcast is because the way people put information out is is biased or it's written in a way to sway the idea. You know, it's putting facts out that really don't matter. You know, that don't actually relate to the thing they're talking about. It seem like they relate, but there's like a couple missing numbers in there, or a couple missing equations that still need to be factored in before it makes sense. You know, it was like the
right.
remember the thing you sent me where it was like the number of black people killed in America by cops or something, and then white people.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and then I was like, but yeah, you got to do the ratio though. So now that's not enough of a factor. You got to take that number and multiply it by the percentage of those people in the country and factor it in that way. So yeah, there's more white people in the country. So by numbers, if things are fair, just there's going to be more white people killed by cops, right? No matter what. And the facts are that there is, but the ratio
Hmm.
now of black people killed by cops compared to black people and white people killed by cops compared to white people is really where the numbers need to lie. And once you do that, there's a 75% chance. There's 75% more black people than white people per person being killed. You know.
Mm. Okay. Yeah,
So
I
like
mean,
whenever
that's
you,
why
it's an article that puts out the information saying, "Hey, look at these numbers,"
Yeah,
but they're not putting the
there's
rest of the numbers in there.
yeah, there's a bit of a narrative behind it, and it's kind of the same thing as like if someone brings up like black on black crime or something. It's like that all has to do with proximity.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all non-issue of whether
Yeah.
there's issues going on. And the thing is, cops are bad to everybody. There needs to be police reform around
Yeah,
the
yeah, oh
board
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like
None
there's
of that should be
cop
an excuse.
exactly the fact that cops are beat everybody up. Yeah, they do. They beat everybody up. but they beat up people of color more, and that needs to be addressed. And also, the fact that they're beating everybody up needs to be addressed
yeah.
too.
It's like, where's the
Like,
self-respect?
it's not like, oh well, they just beat people up. No, everybody, they shouldn't be beating anybody up. Like,
I don't know. Yeah, when I hear that argument, like, oh no, well, white people get it more, and it's like, yeah, but like
there's more white people.
yeah, but also like they're still beating them up. Like,
Yeah,
you should
whatever.
be like, yeah, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? I don't know.
And at the end of the day, when it all comes to a head, what has to be understood is this is the hardest part of the whole thing, of the Black Lives Matter thing right now, because the logical resolution to everything is saying all lives matter in the end, right? After everything's resolved, though.
Yeah.
And people are saying all lives matter, like all the issues have been resolved.
Yeah.
But they're not realizing, if you're saying that as a counter argument,
Yeah.
you're automatically not understanding, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're saying that generally, which is what most people think they're doing when they're saying it, is just saying, I'm just generally saying all lives matter. I know what you're saying, but you're saying it contradictory.
Yeah, in this context, why are you saying that to go over a different?
Listen, that's what Black Lives Matter means. Black Lives Matter means all lives matter.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. But at the end of the day, we want everybody to be able to say all lives matter and not think something of it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
when everything's resolved, that's what we'll all say. You know what I mean? But like, that's not the day yet.
Yeah.
Right. And there's always like, people that create these things like all lives matter, like, these slogans and shit, that's being created. Sometimes you got to think too, like, in some situations to stir up, a problem within a community, a movement, or even an entire city. You have people that are sometimes hired to go in and shit. You know what I mean? Into these movements, into these places.
Oh yeah.
And and try to like literally destroy unity. Like
we've talked about that on like 3 of our episodes already. I mean, we know that's going on. They were dropping bricks off to we talked about a lot, but
I mean, you can take your pick. Any government agency's probably got a hand in that.
Yeah.
And think about it like this too. Like a lot of times, I was thinking about this is that to organize these group of people to get the clothing, the glasses, the pants, whatever, the hats. That shit costs money. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Somebody's making mad dough, or multiple businesses are making so much dough. Just printing the shirts.
Bro, when the protests happen, there's only money to be made everywhere. We haven't actually talked about that. That's a good thing to bring up, because you think about it, right? People in the protests need supplies, like you said just now, outfit, and then also they want the merchandise. Okay, on top of that, so food, water, merchandise, maybe goggles, maybe gloves, whatever they need to protect themselves, right?
Right.
Then the people that are against the protesters, or that are scared of the protesters because of riots, quote unquote, they want to go buy guns and fucking bullets and food and stock up on shit. You know what I mean? So either way, both sides of it are spending tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. But where's the funds coming from? Is the entire group?
It's coming from the people.
Person?
Well, it depends on who you're asking, who's spending the money. It depends on who's, I mean, what funds for what? Where's what funds coming from? You gotta define it, because like, where's the funds coming for the people bringing bricks in and coming in and fighting or fighting protesters or attacking people? I think that's just people of their own volition that are fucking. I think there's some. No, I'm not talking about the cops and shit. I'm talking about the other people. Like, I don't know what gear they need. I don't know, man. It's all that's what. If it was out there that we could find it, we would want to know. But if the cops are paying for those people,
then that money's coming from us, the taxpayers.
That means, we're paying for it. No matter what, the money's always coming from the poor people, bro. Like, no matter what.
So even if we don't, which is something to think about, even if we don't support it or do support it, we're still paying for it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Just like the police, you may not like the police, but people are still paying them because according I don't know to who, but I from what I've learned that we actually pay the police. You know what I mean? We
Yeah, we
give them a
do.
check.
Well, if you pay taxes,
So
you pay the police.
Yeah.
right. So it's weird to say defund the police when you, as a taxpayer, you pay these motherfuckers to
Well,
do your communities and shit like that. So
well,
it's
no one's
weird,
saying.
man. But
Well, whenever you defund the police, now you're only taking some money away. You know, not all their money.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't. We don't want to see all the money for sure.
You
Because
know, we
it,
gotta keep telling everybody that, but
Yeah.
defund means take some money away. Not it could mean take all of it away, but it's not. That does not mean that. I mean, in most
oh
people's
no,
perspectives. At the same time, cops have L.A. took $100,000 out of their budget. That was probably like 1%, probably.
Yeah.
Like they probably have like a
Yeah.
$1 billion
LA.
budget in L.A. on police.
hmm
Like
That's gotta be
I'm just
insane.
guessing. I have no idea what L.A.'s police budget is. We could look it up real quick,
I
but
mean, their drug task force has gotta be insane.
yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of money going over there. So $100,000 ain't shit. And now you take a couple $100,000 from every fucking big police department. Take a little bit more from every police department when they're not that. Some of these police departments have tanks and shit in their fucking
Yeah.
that they can pull out
oh
if they need. Huh?
big ass armored cars and shit.
Yeah, they got like tanks and shit that they can pull out. They don't need that. What do you need a tank for, bro?
Sonic weapons. I mean, grenade
Exactly.
launchers.
We have military bases all over the country that have tanks and shit that, they're all over the country. I mean, everywhere you live, there's probably a military base near you. I mean, everywhere I've ever lived, there's always been a military base near me.
I
But
mean, personally, I think a lot of that has to do with the way that we ramped up the war machine, like after 9/11, and there are these weapons, contractors and all these weapon companies that made a shit ton of weapons, and they're just trying to sell it all, and so they got contracts with the
well,
police.
do you see the news that Trump threatened to not sign a $240 billion bill for war?
Oh,
It
really?
wasn't a bill. It was a two. What was it? $240 billion
Like a budget increase?
budget. Yeah, budget. 240 billion, I think it was. And he said, "I'm not going to sign it if they don't get this fucking that thing that the Democrats were holding back on. That they want. Oh, they said, oh yeah, we need 5 amendments though, but we'll sign it. They did five, and they're like, oh no, we want 20 amendments and we'll sign it. Okay, they gave them 20, and they're like, oh, now we're still not signing it.
Huh.
Democrats are doing this right now about a bill to get shit going right now for the Black Lives Matter stuff.
Huh.
This is the Democrats doing this that are opposing this bill, right? Listen, so Trump said he's not going to sign the $240. This is all backwards. Democrats are supposed to be pushing for the Black Lives Matter bill, and the Republican Donald Trump is supposed to be pushing for the war budget. Come on, this is what
Yeah.
America's built on.
Well,
It's all
this is
twisted in our heads right now. It's
yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah, well, that's what happens, man. After years and years of both sides wanting war, making money off of war, like that's, now you have neoliberals in control and neocons in control.
It's like reverse psychology, the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's also too like because now they have a lot of these people. Let's just call them like rich people, with mega billionaires and shit that own most of the resources
Yep.
and also the technology.
hmm
We like luckily we have something like YouTube. We can go in there. We can
Yeah, but
uh
that's still not everything.
no, it's not. But what I'm trying to say is that that's what we have for now, and it's almost free of charge. But for a person, if you want to control, I'm talking millions of people, and not just you don't want to get to just certain kinds of people. You want to get to as many people as possible. You have television, you have the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, and all kinds of
But listen,
different kinds of
dude,
media outlets that's out
all
there.
those medias,
That right, but that's not good.
all those medias, though, it's the same thing. You said, there's all this stuff out here, but it's not out there. The stuff is hidden from us. The information is not put in our face. It's blocked.
Oh,
We're seeing a very small percentage of information
well,
out at all. Period.
yeah,
I agree, and that what I'm saying is like they put information in front of you that they want you to see,
like it's in two dimensions. You know, they it's like let me give you an example. So like we have telescopes that can see way out light years in the space, but they can't look. They only the telescopes can only go at a certain point. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Well, think
what
about it
we
like
can
this,
see.
like the dark web. We were just on the dark web the other day, and what they were saying was, I saw this YouTuber. He's like, "Oh, we only use 10% of the internet. We only have access to it, right?"
Right.
Then they have this thing, the dark web. The internet's supposed to be this thing that no one can control. Everybody should be able to have access to everything. That's how it's supposed to,
Agree.
except like accounts and stuff like that, and passwords, of course. But I'm just saying, like, this information that's there, it should be there for everybody to find it. And
Hmm.
the dark web comes along, people start hearing about it, and it's got this dark undertone of sinisterness. But that's just because it is in this spot where things are harder to find and da da da. But the real things are there. Everything's there. So if you're not accessing everything through that, go. You should get all your information on there because all like the real information. And we were actually working on a YouTube video about it. I don't know how much of it's going to be in there, but all the real information is on there. Like
Mhm.
you get WikiLeaks and all that. There's news companies and news sources that you've never heard their names probably, but they're official. Like there's no, the least bias. It's all information.
Yeah,
No, it's good to know.
Yeah, but you
It's
got to
good.
read all those. You got to watch those other ones too. I mean, all these articles that I'm getting them out of the fucking ones that that everybody sees.
Hmm. Right, but not. But see, that's the thing too, which one day, I think will happen. Not right now though, because let's just put it this way, man. I just think that with the technology available to us, that these billionaires control, or these people that control, or they pay lobbyists to shoot some narrative out there, whatever it is,
Yeah.
we don't have access to that info. We don't have access. Like I don't have millions of dollars to put up a commercial over and over and over and over again.
yeah.
For somebody to see. I don't have the money
Yeah.
for Lives Matter. You don't have to. I don't have to have Black Lives Matter on a billboard, which most of the time it is on McDonald's and all kinds of places, but on TV continuously. And then you have to have they have the money somehow to be, or they work with people that put that type of narrative in TV shows and movies, And I've like right now I'm visiting my mom, so it's been years since I even watched cable TV, and so I'm seeing this shit and like cartoons, like where
Yeah.
they talk about they'll try to pull down like what they call conspiracy theories, you know what I'm saying? And then they
Yeah.
have an episode with Nickelodeon where kids, oh, that's just another conspiracy theory. Stop telling us that stuff. That's fake news. So
Mhm.
if we had control over shit like that, I mean, you could really get people more into looking into the what we call the truth. You know what I'm saying? But right now, it's hard. So that's like we said earlier. That's why it's hard to really go out and say like, this is what's going on for real. Because if you try to say that, people looking at you like you fucking crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Listen, if you're gonna take any mainstream media, and if we're gonna call it fake news because they don't always tell the truth, then yes,
Hmm.
every single one of them are fake news,
Yeah.
and
And
that's it.
but I mean, on the other side, like it's really kind of sick the way that like these companies, they're just still trying to make money, right? That's always the motive behind all this. Is these guys are trying to make money, so they co-opt something like
Hmm.
Black Lives Matter, put it up there, put it on their commercial, just so people will buy more of their stuff because they say they agree with it. But that doesn't mean that it's really genuine, you know? And that's like the thing
Right.
that really the thing about the mainstream is I always take a very cynical look at it because I'm just like they don't really mean that. They're just trying to make money, you know?
I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
all that.
We live in a capitalistic society,
Yeah.
so everybody is up for exploitation.
That's
Man,
why, again, like what I was saying earlier, where like an actor or something is different than like a company coming out and saying, an opinion. Really, they have to say the most liberal thing most of the time, and say, oh, let's make a Black Lives Matter commercial, McDonald's or something, right? But then
Yeah.
an actor or somebody, they can't always come out and say that because they might lose jobs to the Republican type people that are hiring, and vice versa, or might lose fans and appeal and all that shit. And that's where it comes down to a regular person almost, where you're scared to say something that you might fucking get fired for or this and that if you're not saying
Right.
something that everybody agrees with.
And that's happened too. That's happened to quite some people out here. They don't
Oh,
agree
it's
with it.
happened. We talked about a Magic the Gathering artist that they cut ties with her because she was following somebody that had some, I don't remember. She liked a post on Twitter or something, dude. It was crazy.
That's crazy. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
So
it's
so
all coming. It's getting more and more controlled. If they can't control you one way, they're gonna control you another way. Now they're just using freedom of speech against us.
right. Hey, that's crazy you say that. So especially if you have a reputation, you don't want to fuck that up. You know?
Yeah. So like, yeah, you can't go to jail for it, but you can get
Nah,
punished by the world. We can just put you on the
it's
internet.
Yeah.
right, and that's what makes it just so the common person powerful because to some degree because we don't have. I'm not saying we don't have shit to lose. You know what I mean? Like we got family members. We got jobs or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but we don't have all these people looking at us. Millions of people as our friends and shit like that. So we can go around and say this stuff and not worry about it so much. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
mean, I don't have
unless
shit to lose.
Yeah.
I
And
don't have no
well,
kids.
and exactly because
exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, go ahead, bro.
well, I was just saying like the higher up you go, the more people you got to answer to, you know.
Right,
And so
right,
like you
exactly.
need to. They're kind of like their hands up your ass, kind of like you're just kind of a puppet a little bit. Like they got to tell you if you got an endorsement or some kind of deal with someone. There are certain things that you can't say because
Oh, of
you're
course.
an arm of that company now.
And then on top of that, you're sacrificing a potential endorsement by saying something before you even get it.
Yeah.
So they got to watch what they say, and
So
it's different. Trump can say a racist ass tweet because he really, it's not that he doesn't answer nobody. It's just that him saying something is going to polarize people, and he only needs close to half the people. Like he doesn't need all the people. He didn't win with all the
and
votes
that
last time.
and that's a good point you brought up is that you don't need everybody to change things. All you need is a certain amount of motherfuckers to
I mean, you don't need
have.
even that. You only need one person to change things, but the amount of impact you can have depends on your strategy all the time.
yeah,
Mm,
and
agreed.
now we have like a corporate culture war, which is crazy. I mean, we've had culture wars before, but like now there's people are putting money behind these messages.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
before we had the free love movement in the 60s or whatever. We had like power and liberation or whatever, and like that was just kind of like people going to Woodstock or whatever and just changing the way that they saw things. But now you've got like companies endorsing this stuff, and that becomes a part of it now. Like big money becomes a part of opinions, which is like a very weird thing.
yeah. I mean,
So
opinions shouldn't be impacting everyone's lives as much as they do. In when given or when received, like they shouldn't impact your life at all. Like someone has an opinion, fuck it, who cares? Now, actions and the way people, move, that should be
Mm-hmm.
affecting how you judge something.
hmm yeah, what people do, you know what I'm saying? And a
Yeah.
lot of people got a lot of opinions.
Well,
A
in
lot of
person,
people.
everyone does, but the thing is that no
Yeah.
one's in person anymore. Now the coronavirus happened too, so that just accelerated the not being in person thing.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Yeah, because everybody's scared, and then with the news, again, we don't control the news. So the people that control the news, you
Yeah,
know, say the virus is spreading, is getting everywhere. And then you go into them cities and people are fine, bro. Like they're wearing a mask because,
they were gassing that
they
second
know
wave for
that
months, man. They already knew they were going to do a second wave, no matter what they were going to do a second wave.
exactly.
The
So
second, it's all planned. I'm not saying there's someone put the virus out, but once it comes out, at least they're going to be like, oh well, we're going to just take advantage of the situation. No one can
yeah,
say, hey, these numbers are accurate. No one has fucking worked for the fucking Census Bureau of coronavirus patients. Like there's no census going around fucking clocking these people. It's the fucking governments, it's the doctors, it's the hospitals. The hospitals are making a fucking ton of money. The insurance companies making a ton of money. Government's
Well, even
making,
even
huh?
small businesses take advantage of like small businesses, like because they know the mask. So the mask is not even like a symbol of like, to some degree it still is. It helps people, but it has become different. Like it's more about how can I use it to make money. I
Yeah.
see a lot of these masks got different types, different styles, different graphics on them.
Yeah, bro, I
And
seen that. I haven't worn a mask.
It's a real thing.
I've never worn a mask yet at, to a store.
yeah, again, so as long as you live in a capitalistic society, anything is exploitable, man.
Yeah,
Even so
big facts,
live in
big facts.
a sick, unsane society. And so, and I've been reading some newspapers about even mental issues, that people may have because of the virus. They may lose
Oh,
everything.
for sure, bro. Mental issues from
Yeah,
everything. Like mental issues are
yeah,
from everything. But yeah, that too. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, on top
yes,
of that, like,
The thing is, you got to know how to fight and just keep going and just not let that shit take any part of you. Like none of that kind of bullshit. Especially if you're looking at everything realistically. As long as you can always put it in a perspective and look at shit realistically and keep yourself accountable, like as much as possible to what you know is right, you
hmm
should be able to mentally fare well through all this. You know?
exactly. And so, like for me, I've been pretty good. I'm all right. I'm good. I still, take my little trips out there. Not all the time, but I go to New York here and there. And you can walk around, you can talk to people. Yeah, people are cautious and shit, but you can still go out there and get some air, relax. You don't have to be in the house all day and shit. You know what I mean? Because that shit can get depressing. Like, so it's good to get some air a little bit. I try not to let the media scare me and shit. And it's depressing anyway to see those numbers keep rising and all that weird shit. So um, I honestly, it sometimes it even helps to just pay attention, but not too much. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, see it, the number, hear the cases, but don't indulge in it. Like, don't feed that shit.
Yeah, bro.
So, yeah, but what
And
helps is, like I said, now go ahead.
sometimes I just think it's all a bunch of
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god.
Yeah,
Stop
it's a bunch of
fucking lying.
that's bullshit.
That's what you
Not
gotta
only,
tell. That's what you gotta tell the media right there. That's all it is.
Mhm.
They're just fucking lying, bro.
Yeah, and exactly, and then the hard part is, man, it's really hard to like you can't I've tried, man. You can't go out there to a person that wants you to put it on. Like if you using a public transportation or whatever, you can't say, "Oh, that's bullshit," because they won't let you ride. So you have to play the part, even though it's fucked up. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
gotta play the
no, for
part. But
sure. Where
I usually
you're
take
at,
my shit
bro?
off when I leave the
Fuck,
house.
I can't even
Like
imagine. I can't imagine being in Jersey right now. They'd probably arrest me or something by now. Cause I'm not fucking wearing your mask, dog. I can't breathe in that fucking shit. I'm not. I just won't go nowhere. I'll keep ordering food and
yeah,
I'll.
bro. I, s- I say the same thing, man. I was like, because you can't, like, your lungs cannot expand naturally like they should. You know what I'm saying? Like, they expand like halfway, and then you breathe in your carbon. What is it? What is it? Oh shit, is it carbon monoxide? I believe. I think
Yeah,
that's
you're
what it's
breathing.
called.
You're
Not sure,
definitely getting
but
some
CO2
carbon
pretty much. You
dioxide
breathe it
out of
back
that.
in,
Yeah, you breathe out.
dioxide, yeah.
You
And
breathe
so
out
you
carbon
breathing all that shit
monoxide.
in.
That shit's poisonous.
Right,
We breathe out
exactly.
poison to our
So
body. Like,
mask and the body can't naturally clean itself the way it should. You know what I mean?
yeah, fuck
Because
that.
it's fun, exactly. So it's yeah, it protects us from the virus. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, we still can't breathe properly, and that's why maybe people go to the hospital half of the time because they got a fucking mask on all day. They
Yeah,
can't breathe. Go to the hospital. COVID. Stupid.
exactly,
You know.
bro. And then, like we talked
mhm.
about as well on here, the doctors that were quitting their job because they said that even the breathing machines they're putting them on, it's not good on the lungs. It's killing the people faster.
Yeah, that's true. Like I've been seeing a lot of that. Nurses been coming out, doctors
Nurses, yep,
saying shit. Yeah. So
yeah,
if the doctors, even scientists, are telling us like, look, you know what I mean? we did this the social distancing and 6 feet as a precaution, because we didn't know what we were dealing with. But now they
Yeah,
have enough information, they know enough. They say, look, it's not a big deal. So what the fuck are y'all doing? You know what I
yeah.
mean? So so people are coming out. I mean,
I
people
mean, listen, the
study.
World Health Organization came out saying that asymptomatic people don't spread the virus very easily. Like I don't when they said it, it's like real hard for someone that's asymptomatic. So no, they're not showing symptoms. They're not giving someone the virus. On top of that, they said that you don't the fucking shit's not coming through the air like that. Like it's not airborne. They never it was never that.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I don't know. They don't know. It keeps going back and forth. Now it
Yeah,
seems like they're lying again, and they were lying
Yeah.
before. I mean, they're all lying.
and their narrative about the masks, like, so I had this. I was listening a little bit about it, and it kind of makes sense. I've heard, like, basically when it first came out, they said nobody, people don't need a mask, but they were saying it so that all of the health officials would have enough for when they need to, like, all
Yeah.
all the
So
all
they
the
don't get.
caregivers and stuff. Yeah, so they don't get it. So, like, that could have been a lie. That could have put people in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? Could have got a lot of people sick. And now they're
Mm-hmm.
saying that, oh, everybody should have one. And now I think they're going back on it, right? Then,
Bro, I don't know what they're saying anymore. I really don't pay attention as much as I can because like I
And
said, the way to keep your mind, you gotta not pay attention to some shit. But
yeah, exactly.
but right whenever I see some shit and I do, it automatically comes into my perspective. I have to look at it with rationale. I'm not gonna look at it like, oh, they said this? That must be true. I'm like, they said that. Why the fuck they say that? Don't make no sense. Let me look at it. Oh, they're not even. Why aren't they telling me this? Or why they're missing something here? Like, or why does this even
mhm.
matter? It's not. It's something stupid that they made hyped up into a headline. It's clickbait,
Hey,
which the newspaper's been doing clickbait forever. So I mean, is clickbait even a good term for it? But that's what it is. Everything's clickbait now.
well, yeah, they're trying to stay relevant too.
But
So
newspapers are always clickbait. That's what the paper boy in the old movies is yelling as you're walking by. He's yelling the most happening thing that they put on the front of the paper. He's reading off the headline.
Yeah.
exactly. Read all about it.
Yeah, read all about it. Al Capone got locked away by whatever the fuck it is. He's yelling that shit. That's the same thing, man. Now they
Yeah,
don't
but
need
that's
a kid yelling at you. They can just fucking. You're gonna be looking at your phone while you're walking down the street, and everybody's looking at it. And also, we can use your past history of what you like to show you what the stuff that we know will make you click on us.
Hmm.
exactly. There you go. So now you brought that up. Now at this point, like they can keep people locked in a situation, like literally trapped inside the same kind of content
Oh
over
yeah,
and over and over,
Hmm.
unless and it's hard to. Yeah, you can literally be trapped, bro. Like if you're not, yeah, I think I mentioned this to my little brother earlier. YouTube, all of those things, that's what they do because they want you to use their social media stuff.
well,
So to
now they
do that
want you
though,
to.
you
At
have to
Yeah.
first they
get people
didn't.
involved,
They're
addicted. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
also people like to find approval, not I want to say approval, but they like the fact that they want to be right. So if you could put up situations like videos, posts, whatever about only how you think about things, you know what I'm saying? Then it feels good to know that okay, I'm not the only one here that's crazy. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Mhm.
watch only shows right these videos here because these are the people that agree with me.
I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
and that's the thing. People are only watching the things of people that agree with them, and that's what you can't do though. You have to look at the ones that don't agree with you and see what and try to figure out why.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just mentioned this to my brother like literally an hour ago, man. I said, it's we have to be careful, man. We really do. And I told him, I said, I don't want to get to people that I already know that understand it already. I want to see if I can get to people that don't understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People that don't see where it's coming from. I know that sounds crazy, but
Well, I think a
it
lot of
really.
people do understand it though, and that's the problem. And they don't actually
Hmm.
want to express it for fear of being crazy. Or
Yeah.
if they don't understand it, I mean, that I think that's rare. But the people that do understand, I think there's just overall reason they don't talk about it is because they're hopeless. They don't think there's a chance to override the system. They think there's no way out. Like it's too late. They already got us locked in.
Yeah, you're already playing a game. You already have the rules. You can't, you can't get out of it. It's like Monopoly. It's just there for, it's gonna go on forever.
Yeah.
But I mean, all of these companies, they have ad profiles. Like they have psychological profiles on you, which is like so crazy to me. I mean, that just like lends to what you said before about, getting stuck in a bubble, like an information bubble when there's so much out there. Like what you were
Well,
saying
Right.
before about us only using 10% of the internet because, there's a certain grain that you're meant to go with because again, they're just using it cynically to try and sell you something, which is
it's
like,
like and it's like almost like how selling phone numbers used to be like a thing. Like people, I mean, it's still a thing, but I don't think it makes as much money anymore. But like, companies would always try to get you to come into the stores and sign into their books or something. Put your phone number down and shit whenever you start an account with them. They always wanted your phone number. The reason was because they'd take them phone numbers and they sell them to these ad companies. The ad companies that can call you and say, hey, da da da. Well, it's the same thing. Now what they're doing is they're taking your internet history, taking that, saving it into a data bank, connecting it with your profile, your username, blah blah blah. Your Google, it's through Google. Bam, we know what you like. We're gonna hit you with this, and it's not even people calling you. Instead, it's while you're in your private social platform, just going through your thing. You're just gonna keep seeing shit pop up over and over.
Exactly.
While you're on
And it
YouTube,
just
it's gonna pop up.
hmm and they know nowadays. I mean, like I said, it's been years since I watched the TV. So I'm on my phone, or if I'm on my phone, most likely I'll go to YouTube. Whatever, and yeah, you'll get the ads. You know what I'm saying? Which has literally taken over that shit. I mean, I know ads wasn't on there like on YouTube like 10 years ago or whatever. You know what I mean? But now it's
Well,
just like it's
they were
insane.
on there, but
You know,
not as many,
yeah, not as personalized.
that's what I'm saying.
and yeah, not as
Yeah, because
personal.
now it's like in your face. Like when you're gonna watch a YouTube video, somebody's gonna monitor your stuff, and you're gonna get some ads.
I mean, and
Especially if they.
I don't get
Now
ads
go
at
ahead.
all, but that's because I can do it I watch YouTube on my computer and I have an ad blocker, so I don't get any. So I don't.
Right.
I actually. I'm just gonna start off by saying I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't get them. But I know people complain about YouTube ads.
And it's
Yeah,
always, oh, go ahead.
no, I'd say yeah. I agree.
Yeah, it's always weird when you get an ad that like really just doesn't make sense. Like I
Mhm.
for a little while I had one about like cancer treatments, and I'm like, whoa, do they know something more than I do right now? Like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Do they know more about my medical history or like what I'm susceptible to? Like, how much do these guys fucking know about me that I
Yeah,
might not
and
even
that's
know myself? You know?
I'm sure a lot. Excuse me, I don't mean to yawn. I just stretched a little bit, but I mean, I'm sure they know a lot about you, bro. I know they know a lot about you. Whenever you're on Facebook and there's a post that someone says, "Oh, what superhero and powers do you have?" and it fills out your month, date,
Oh
and year of
yeah,
your birth, and it's like I just gave you my birthday. I didn't give you. It's not a code. You're not Superman with fucking the power of flight, motherfucker. You're October 49th done in fucking 1937. I have your
yeah,
birthday now.
yeah.
I never put my birthday in the shit, and you actually have to in Google. You can't not put your birthday. You know why? Because you'll forget what year you put later.
Oh yeah, if you need your password.
Yeah, and then you gotta get locked out of your shit. I got mad shit I'm locked out of because I never put my real birthday in, but now I have to.
I
mm,
have a backup fake birthday.
That's what I need to do is really have one ready. I mean, really, that's what everybody should do.
Yeah, go
But
on the.
then if you put your card or something in, it might check that information. I'm sure eventually
Oh
it will,
yeah, yeah,
but some things do. Like PayPal, you can't not
yeah,
put the right information in PayPal because you got to give them your social security number. But
yeah.
yeah,
they're super secure. I'm not worried about giving them that. But all I'm saying is, or my birthday. But now if they want to line that up with my account that says, oh, 3 years later or something, I added on. You know what I mean? A different
hmm
birthday, there might not be like, oh, this ain't the same person. We can't let you access this PayPal account. Get locked out of your own money. What can you do?
Yeah.
exactly. Gotta create a new
And
account. Shit.
then nowadays you can't call people. You can't go on the phone. I was had issues with Twitch now for a couple of days where I'm just like, yo, let me fucking call you and find out how to fix this. Or let me talk to a live chat person on the computer. Like text me, whatever, bro. I need to talk to somebody as it's happening. 'Cause this shit's crazy. If I can't stream right now until I get the answer. And it's a different world whenever you can't contact people,
Yeah,
companies. You can't even
yeah,
talk to them.
yeah. Sometimes you can't even use the entire phone unless you give them your information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like to turn on your phone, you gotta give them your information. Apple's real good for that. Like,
Oh, and
and then
back in
people.
the day, whenever I got my Metro PCS phone, I could always make my name up. I can put any phone number in. I mean, I could put any birth date in, everything. Now,
Hmm.
they want your ID, everything. It's a prepaid cell phone. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's just to track people. Yeah, like
Yes. So everybody want everything from you. I mean, like, and at the end of the day, again, it's just to exploit that information. Just
Well,
to
it's
use
also making the people that are off the grid not be able to be off the grid as much. I mean,
yeah, they're forcing them to.
exactly.
because I'll tell you what, I'm pretty far off the grid compared to most people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, I didn't have a phone for a minute. I don't have, the taxes. I don't do that over the table jobs. No, I haven't been doing none of that. Everything under the
Mm-hmm.
table, everything, that's just how I'm moving. And,
Right.
it's hard to do stuff. You can't do certain things. You can't, like I said, now you can't get a cell phone without you having to give them your name. Like you don't have to
Exactly.
give them your name. You're still off the grid with that shit. I mean, but you have to. So
Right.
it is what it is.
Yeah, and I feel like I say sometimes like things are, well, like you said earlier, things are just it don't seem planned. But what happens is like you can see again they collect mad data. You know what I mean? Google,
Mhm.
all these people collect so much data on everybody, their reactions, how they respond to this, how they respond to that,
Yeah.
whatever, name it. And
Yeah.
so they can create out of that information because they know enough about the world, using the phones and computers or just being, this is put in a nutshell, being plugged in, you know, they can
Yeah.
create, they realize, okay, we can control people. And
Well,
so they use it.
that's the thing though, bro. So my point is, we need these people that know how to create these programs and stuff to start creating
Right.
new ones, new versions of the old ones. That's what everybody always does anyway. Facebook was a MySpace, all
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's like, hey, just make a new one that isn't going to be controlled by it. But then what happens is money comes in, takes it over. But you
Mhm.
can find places that are like that, but it's so small the amount of people compared. I mean, that's what else can I say? The users on those kind of things.
Yeah,
But I mean, they're there, and I mean, it's just hard to see. You're not going to have the same interaction with every single one of your friends are on Instagram or Facebook, you know.
Right.
well, yeah, they made. I mean, Facebook was testing the waters. I don't know how long ago it was, but I remember there being a big thing about they were saying, "Oh, we might start charging people money to
Yeah,
run it," and everybody's like, "Nah, nah, don't do that." And they found a way to make money by gathering everyone's information, and it's like if we just all paid for it for the service, this wouldn't have been a problem. Like we
yeah.
wouldn't
What
be
if
talking about
they
this.
would have still put ads in?
Oh, sure, but it's not going to be like profit driven. Like
Bias,
yeah,
like,
like the thing is, they would have had the money to run that shit without the ad companies. So maybe they wouldn't have implemented it as hard.
well, okay. So about overall all the topics, we got some fireworks in the background too, but I hope it's not too loud for the stream. But
Oh no, you're good.
let's run back through all the topics we had because
Mm-hmm.
we already got almost, we've been on here for a while already. Um, and then we'll get to whatever you want to talk about. We're not in a hurry or nothing though. We still got a lot to talk about. But Hillary's trial is set. What's her name? Maxine.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Yep.
Everything else. Coronavirus. Ellen with the adrenochrome crying. I don't know, guys. I have no idea either. But this episode is called Solutions, and the whole point is let's try to find solutions for our problems instead of always making our problems. Especially with Jamir here, that's like his big push is to try to make solutions instead of just talking about issues. So you can't just talk about an issue without trying to find a way to solve it. And
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna hand it over to you now.
All right. So basically, I'm just gonna go through this little list. So right now, I'm just gonna go into my little bit about my history working with children in school, stuff like that. You know, I've been working with kids for almost about a decade now, almost a decade on and off. And you know, when you work in public schools, a lot of you got the nerds and the cool kids, and then you got the so-called bad kids. And I always would with the bad kids all the time, so-called bad kids. And they would be pressed by the principal and shit all the time, or all of that. And basically, I've been, like I said, been doing that pretty much for the past 10 years. And I've seen a lot of issues in public schools. I've seen teachers do things that literally was out of the ordinary. Kids not realizing that they don't benefit from it. Uh, Also, just kids that don't want to be there. They know they're being forced to be there. They know they ain't learning shit. It's not benefiting them anyway. They're cutting school.
I
They're
mean,
dropping out.
kids that the system failed them, and it's obvious.
Exactly. And sometimes I've seen situations where kids are just run through it. They don't have the tools to be able to survive out there, but they just kind of pass kids through, even though they're failing or they can't write. They gotta whatever. They passing them through. They graduate. Because they don't want to deal with the child. So and there's probably other reasons for that too. But I've seen that many times, all kinds of things. So I wanted to figure out a way to deal with those problems. You know what I'm saying? And so what I used to do is I would take those so-called bad kids and take them out because I used to live in Denver at the time. So I would take those few kids out that I worked with, and we fed the homeless. You know what I'm saying? And they were down for that. And then by doing that, I realized that these kids are not bad kids. You know what I'm saying? They just want to, it's like having them out there and helping other people. They change their behavior, the way they speak to each other, how they present themselves to other people is so different than when they in school. We're just in that kind of environment,
Well,
public school.
and I think it attributes to the fact that school's forced, and that's something that
Hmm.
makes you feel good that anybody would want to do. I'm gonna get a
Right.
little closer just because the fireworks are loud out here. It's
Hmm.
not 4th of July anymore, guys. Come on. Anyway, and you give somebody a cause, a reason to live. School doesn't do that. School gives
Right.
you an expectation of finding a reason to live yourself. And
Right.
whenever you're doing something that you want to do, it's because it feels like you're getting something out of it. You got to be doing something mentally for yourself all the time. If you're not, you will always go down dark roads and make decisions that are bad. Like that's just no matter
And,
what.
and and then the thing is, schools try to encourage critical thinking and independence and all of that, and that's not possible. You know what I mean? Because
Not in that environment.
No, because
no,
because you got kids sitting down for like what 8 hours a day or some shit. Like what? Are you crazy? You're gonna try and have a kid repeat shit for 8 hours a day, like sitting in a chair? Like, of course they're not gonna want to do
They're
that.
going to critically think of how to get the fuck up out of there
Yeah.
and not get caught. That's what they're
you
going to
touch,
do.
bro. You touched on a good point. I worked in some schools in Maui, and those kids, and they're smart as hell. They definitely some of them know how to get out of a classroom. You know what I'm
Hell
saying?
yeah, I
Especially if
always
they don't
did.
get to chill with their buddy or
Man, I'll go out, I'll
and I
cut
see it all the
class and
time.
go
They always
smoke
find a way
hella
to go to.
weed, bro. I knew they didn't call my mom, and I knew the only punishment you get for it is you get absences. Okay, they give you
Right.
detention,
And,
and
and, and
they give you
school,
detention, and then you skip it.
exactly. And the thing is, I always say, if you want critical thinkers, kids that inquire about nature and you really find what they love to do, you have to start young with 'em, you know. So I used to work with smaller kids too, and I see a lot of parents, teachers, don't know how to set up a situation where can be curious and continue to be curious and wanting to know more about the world and all of that kind of stuff because they don't reinforce it. They want the kids to line up, pay attention, you know, and do what they're told to do. Where you see a lot of kids naturally, you know, they'll see something on the ground and whatever, and they'll pick up a flower, pick it apart, look at it. You know what I mean? Pick up dead shit. You know, ask questions. Why, all the time. But by the time they get into about the between third and fifth grade, they begin to change. You know, they're no longer interested in fucking asking questions. They don't know. They're no longer interested in looking at flowers and you know picking things apart and doing all these interesting things, you know, they become, you know, like all the other, everybody becomes uniform around that time. Meaning, like, in other words, you know, if you're still digging up dirt, at grade, you know what I'm saying? When you were in the second grade, you were digging up holes in dirt, and if you're still doing that in the fifth grade, you're a nerd. You know, something's wrong with you. Like, why is he doing that? Why are you picking up dirt? Like, that shit is nasty.
Yeah,
But just
exactly.
just 3 or 4 years ago, all of y'all motherfuckers was in that today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So what happened?
it's like if you're not doing what everybody else is doing, it's automatically exclusion, you know. And then that
Right,
will
and
add
that's
to going towards a darker, you know, path too.
Yeah, and I think
right. Now here's
kids also just like want to grow up too fast too. I think
Mm,
that's another, and
mm,
it's pushed a lot, you know. And they're
no.
like, oh well, I'm mature now, and it's like I remember,
Well, no, listen, it's not that. I think it's people don't want kids to grow up at their own pace. If that kid's ready to do something, you're supposed to let them try it. Watch what happens. They ain't gonna be ready
mm,
after, but they'll know it, and they won't. And now
mm,
that'll get them right. Someone says, "Oh, I'm ready to
mm,
do something." Okay, you want a job at 13? Let a kid get a job at 13. Let them. Some of them are ready
right,
for it, and if they are ready for it, they deserve to be able to do it as a human being.
mm.
oh yeah, no, I'm just talking about children though.
Well,
Like,
I'm just saying in general, because a lot of times these kids want to work, man. They want to get a job and start making money so they can get the fuck out of whatever situation that puts them in a bad place already.
yeah,
Yo, but check this out. Check this out. That's kids I worked with up in Maui, bro. They up in there making money, hustling. These
That's
kids up in
it,
there selling candy, stickers, because stickers is a big thing. You know, you the ones you put on your laptop and shit. They sell
yeah,
those, bruh. These
bro. What
guys
I'm
are not.
saying, that's what I'm saying. Like that's a good thing. Like they're trying to get a job. They obviously got their own job, no matter what. They're gonna make some money. Give them a
Right.
broom. Give them a fucking
And,
cashier position. Let them work earlier. Let kids work whenever they
and,
want.
and check this out though. Like a lot of teachers don't reinforce that shit. But you know, I see a little one of the kids do it. Like, and I work at a middle school. So you know, they doing this shit in middle school, right? So I'll be reinforcing that shit. I'll be like, yo, let me get a Skittles, yo. How much is that? $2. And I'll give them the $2 because I
Yeah.
know what they're trying to. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They're
yeah,
learning
And you want to
to make
support
money.
it.
yeah,
Right. And, and even if it is and a lot of times what the kids are interested in, what they're being taught is totally irrelevant to what they're into. Like these motherfuckers probably like I worked with one kid on one, and he has a long not a I wouldn't say a business, but he has a couple of friends that go around in their neighborhood and they cut the grass and shit for the people in the neighborhood and they get paid for it. So I told them about, you know, square card readers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes they don't have some people say, I just got a card, I don't have cash or whatever. Like, I'll give it to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, shit, I got my thing right here. You know, you want to, you know. So, and he was really, the kid was interested in that. Really, he even took down notes, took pictures of it and everything because he didn't know about it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times kids are into math shit. It's just like they only have math, social studies, all these boring ass classes that they don't want to do. And half of the time, the teachers ain't even teaching no more. The kids are on the computers doing all the work.
Yeah, or
So
reading
you
books
got
like
a
they
teacher
always
that will
were.
go up for like 10 minutes, explain a lesson and say, all right, cool, go on this site, go here, log in, this is how you do it.
It's always been like that.
Right. And so teachers are stuck. Right. So teachers are stuck. Yeah, even when I was in school, you know,
Yeah.
they had computer class and shit. So what I'm saying, but it's getting worse. Like it's getting to the point where it's in almost in every classroom. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I don't
Except
believe
for
it. I don't believe in socialized school system anyway. So I think
Mhm.
that everybody should just be homeschooled. And
Right.
I have a
And
theory. I have a whole theory about all that, but I don't really want to get into that. But I'm gonna say one quick part of it, which is I think that people should be starting doing apprenticeships by the time they're like 12
mm,
as half of their day.
yeah,
I
so,
mean, as government like and it should be on them to learn up until that point.
hmm
If not, yo, if you're not in an apprenticeship by 12, yo, you're gonna look at some McDonald's work until and as just you're gonna have to work. You gotta work, and it'd be something.
and here's a another issue that I found out. A lot of kids can't tell what is real and what's fake. That to me is a kind of an issue on my part. I had one kid ask me that. She's like, "Well, how can you tell what's real and what's fake?"
About what?
And
Like what?
just anything like the news, just
Oh,
basically part of the news. I'm sure of it. You know what I mean?
deductive
YouTube,
reasoning.
yeah. So they don't even know what's real and what's fake, and so they have
Well, that's because they don't
people.
trust themselves to make the
Right.
confirmation.
So this is the crazy part. So they're vulnerable. So now you have a situation where kids are, whatever, and now they hire people from different places to come in and tell them what's real and what's fake. Now they don't even know who the fuck they're hiring for that. Now you can you can bring in somebody to teach them what's real and what's fake, but they may tell them like, look, like the shit we talk about, they'd be like, "Oh, that's fake. Don't pay attention to that. This is what's real right here." You know what I'm saying? So it makes it difficult for us to go in and say, "Yo," but see, the crazy shit is too. The kids they know about this stuff, like stuff we talk about. The kids talk about this stuff. They into
Oh
this shit.
yeah, for sure, bro.
They into this shit, so they know
People
what's up with all.
underestimate the power of the youth, and they're always trying to make them seem like they're more and more they're getting less and less mature or something. And I mean, in some
No,
ways, there's like less of that, but there's like you can't penalize every person because of certain people. I mean,
Yeah, and
let
but kids
kids
want to
that
know.
are, some kids are ready for things whenever they're kids. Like, still, I mean, that's how life works.
No, no, right, and you brought up a good point. Like these kids are ready to learn. Like some kids come
Well,
up
they're
to me
ready
and
for
ask me
real
about
life
weed, all
experiences. I
kinds of
mean,
stuff.
beyond learning,
Yeah, even that
I
for sure.
think
I
like
mean, they
especially by like 10, 12 years old, put kids, every kid in the country should be out of school and then put teachers inside these companies and they train the kids for that company. If they like the job, they can keep going up. If they don't like the job, they go to a different one. But you can also keep giving them schoolwork and shit too while you're doing it. Like a regular teacher can check any work. It's not hard. So
yeah,
you implant teachers in Walmart, bro, and then have people work there. Have kids come in and work there and learn how to work. The teacher getting paid by the company because she's fucking training new employees for them. If the kid
right.
don't like the job, they got like 10 years to decide before their career would even really start right now, right? So
Well,
they're 12, they got
well,
at least till 22 to where their career would even begin. And now they're taking
mm,
10 years off that. By the time they get to 22, they're already going to be running a whole store by themselves, or at least be
mm,
ready to.
right.
Or
And
on
then,
the flip side, they're already coding whole programs by the time they're fucking 15, 18.
oh yeah, they already got that in schools. The school that I'm at, they teach kids how to code, but they
Yeah.
do it in such a way like they fuck it up where it's like, yo, all right, you take something fun like coding, something very interesting, and they in school, public school could turn it into something fucking
Well,
so boring and
exactly what I'm saying.
monotonous.
Put them right into the environment where they'll be doing it. Don't train
Exactly.
them for this
And
environment that's like, oh, super quiet office room where everybody doesn't talk to each other and focuses on their work type shit. Nah, what's gonna really happen? Where are you really gonna be at coding? Go there, and there'll be teachers there. Teachers gonna teach you for the next 5 to 10 years, whatever it is, and you're gonna learn
hmm
half about this occupation and half about regular life skills. And if you don't like it after a year, you can switch again and go look at
Now, see what you're
engineering.
talking.
Engineering, there'll be some fucking teachers there. You know what I mean? That's what I
Mm,
think. It cuts out a
Right.
lot of the college bullshit, and I mean, it just makes you learn shit. You can spend your whole if you want, you can learn a whole bunch of different things at like a small level for your 10 years. But then you got to work, bro. You got a job. If you don't got a job, you get assigned a job
Yeah.
until you find one.
Or another way, just contribute to your community somehow.
mm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I mean, you got to have exactly. You got to be pulling your weight one way or another.
Exactly.
And
So
if you start a
that's
lemonade business that you're paying your bills with, that's a job.
right. And then kids, starting them young. That's what I always think. Starting them like real young when they're curious and everything, reinforcing that. They don't feel like it's a terrible thing to want to contribute to your community. It's not about like me,
Yeah.
me, me. Like, you know what I'm
Anybody
saying? Like,
that has any kind of logical mind knows that it's required to contribute to the society that you live in. Like all of us as humans and on
Mhm.
this earth and all that. Like we gotta contribute to that.
And
right.
not
And
only that, I mean, it kind of like helps kids network and get to know other people, in the community. Like it
right,
really promotes
right. So
that.
right. And you don't really need
What
like
does?
Well,
Facebook like that. You know what I'm saying? Like like
yeah,
you said, if you in the
Oh yeah.
community, you in it. You're talking to your community. You out there, you helping them fix up whatever, or
Oh yeah.
inventing something, which makes things easier. Especially if it's a small community. If it's not a massive as like city spread out and shit all over the place. I think that's why most of us need Facebook. People are so far away,
mhm,
sometimes. But like if you're working with a community and shit, you know what I'm saying, and a population of like 10,000 people, you know what I mean, and they, you don't you would use it, but not as often because my buddy's down the street over here and this person down that way. Everybody's close by, like
Yeah,
now
but
yeah,
well, the
it's a
thing is though,
small like population of people.
you can find people that you vibe with a lot more if you have a bigger group of people to look through, and that's what social media does. You get to look through the whole world and find people that you get along with the best. Somebody that's playing the same exact video
I
game
agree.
as you, somebody that likes the same videos on YouTube that you watch, or likes the same kind of art that you like, and you guys can become closer than any of your real life friends than you ever have been, and it makes you kind of separate from those real life friends sometimes when you forget that you know you,
And this is why I
everyone
created
matters to
a
you, that
website,
everybody matters to you, and
right? And
real life
that's why I created a website.
ex-
Now go ahead, go ahead.
person to person uh face to face relationships are very important in our sanity as well.
Right,
yeah,
and you can use the same kind of like Facebook. You can use the same kind of methods that they use and create like nowadays you can create your own free website.
Oh
The
yeah.
website that and the website I pretty much I didn't really like finish it, but it was an experiment, and it was to see if I can get people with alternative like lesson plans and shit like that, like something so different than the traditional average like sit down, have a seat, this is the objective for the day. Like they come up with these unique lessons and they post it on my website. You got kids that create beautiful pieces of artwork or they make a rap song or whatever, and they able to post that, and other people that are in that school can look at that website and look at those alternatives, and they can find out because a lot of teachers struggle to get their kids' attention. So if you had a situation, not you don't have to necessarily use Facebook, but you can create a situation where uh, people can look at this thing and say, okay, I never thought of a lesson plan like that. Let me try that. Or wow, that's some dope artwork. Let me go connect with dude over here in class 5 or some shit.
Yeah.
He would have never have known though,
mm,
like, they would have never have known that the kid in class 5 does some dope ass artwork just like he do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because you have these dividing groups in
Yeah.
school. If you look out in the field, you'll see like group
And that's why it
A.
is great that social media exists like that, because you could live in a town with somebody that you would get along with better than anybody else that you could hang out with, but you just never met them too as well. So that is
Exactly.
good. Yeah. I mean, it's more for the better. I'm not saying social media is bad. I think people
Oh no.
I think people think it's bad, but I don't think it's bad at all. I think what's bad about it is people don't know how to not how to get off it.
Yeah, and they don't see, like, for me, I see where people see it as a bad thing. I see potential in how you can actually use it a different way. Like, so, but people have been using it the way I've just described. You know what I mean? Already,
Oh
if
yeah.
we could apply it to school and shit, like that would be dope. Like, you
I
know what I'm
mean
saying? I'm sure.
Facebook already. Yeah.
Yeah. So if schools already have that. But what you mentioned about apprenticeships, trades, if you don't like this, then you go to try something else. I experimented with that kind of stuff. So what I used to do, for middle, I started off with elementary school kids, and what I would do is, I would go in the lunchroom because it was an after school program. I would go in the lunchroom, and then I realized that a lot of kids will fight on the playgrounds. It's too crowded. The counselors constantly had problems. They were playing these same competitive ass games, shit like that.
Yeah.
So I decided to do something different. What I did was I went into the cafeteria and I set up this space where kids can do artwork, crafts, whatever. And then I found out that they actually enjoyed it. It seemed like they were much calmer, less stressed out. They were talking to their friends, things like that, just chilling, doing crafts. And I never had to give a lesson, a course, or nothing. If they needed me, they needed scissors or they needed me to cut something real quick. But usually they did on their own. And
Yeah.
then I started in different things like tablets, just for them to play brain games. Now we know those make you smarter, but what I realized by them playing those games is what I saw is that they started to work together, which which is amazing to me. Like, and they were, in other words, like some of them they would be on the tablet playing the brain game, figuring out the puzzles, but they were like singing harmony together. They would do like these weird things to help each other figure this stuff out. And I think they realized how important it was to work together to solve a problem. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I even seen, usually adults don't really get involved with kids like that, but they started to get involved because
Yeah.
I started to add more to what I call the workshop. I started bringing microscopes that I bought. I started bringing mad shit, and I started realizing that kids, they still like their groups, but a lot of times groups die and new ones are born because they rotate continuously. You know what I mean? So if they don't like the tablet thing or the VR headset or the arts and crafts, they know they can go to the microscope and look at something small or
Yeah.
take it apart. I even had brought in one time having them working on electronics. Like I had soldering irons and shit. So they were scared to use it. Some of the stuff they never saw before. And so a lot of that, I learned a lot from that shit. You know what I'm saying? Even like kids, some people think that kids are incapable of solving problems. That's a myth, man.
Who
Like
said
the
that?
reason, I'm just saying people believe that. Like, in other words, like some people think that they always have to intervene in child's problems. Like if they
Oh,
arguing and
well, I
shit,
think that's more
but
fear.
not necessarily.
Yeah.
I think that's more
Yes,
fear,
yes, you're
or
right.
it's also
And the thing,
it's a controlling thing to make them feel like they need you as an adult.
right. And that too, like what you just said there, that's a constant process. As you're young, as you're small, you go into a mall. Mom tell you pull your pants up when you're at the mall, belting your shit up, buttoning your shirt up. You know what I mean? When you're doing this, when you're doing that, wipe your face.
Yeah.
Constantly controlling your behavior all the time. You're not free to do what you please. But what I try to do is set up a situation where I didn't intervene. Very little to not at all. You know what I'm saying? And I allow the kids to kind of just do their thing. But and then, I mean, to help them to solve problems, this is what I did. I tried to give them an idea. I didn't give them a solution, an idea. So I said, because they were arguing about some headset that they wanted to use, a VR headset I had bought for them. And
Yeah.
then, but I said, look, count to 30 seconds, and once the 30 seconds is up, he has to pass it up. I come back like a few minutes later, these motherfuckers is passing it up, but they're not counting. So I'm like, yo, how are y'all doing that? And they'll say, oh, well, we just listen to the sound of the game when the guy loses, he just passes it up. And they did it, no problem. There was no arguments or nothing. And some of them, they would just go to different groups because they got tired of dying and shit, passing it up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But on the playground, and what I'm trying to say is that on a playground, sometimes you don't get a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, like proximity is the issue. Like in certain playgrounds, all the things are close together, so you can't. It's hard to rotate, move around and shit,
Right.
especially when it's crowded.
And
But
beyond
the work,
that, not everybody wants to play on a fucking playground anymore.
Yeah, and like you only have a limited amount of things to engage with.
And
Like
it's
you have
hot
some dolls.
outside. You gotta go
Yeah,
back into your classroom and you're all sweaty and shit.
yeah.
Kids don't want to do
I
that.
hated that. I was
And
real
that's what I'm saying.
screwed.
So I said, and then I started. Then I went to this summer. Actually, let me just say this: like, I had a situation where I had a book, and I said, record the things you learn. Just write them out. What you learn, what you get out of it. This thing. And half of them couldn't write, they couldn't spell nothing. And so I was shocked, man. They couldn't like explain what like they could tell you like in words like how what they got from you, but they couldn't write it out. So I said, man, what the fuck are they doing in school if they ain't learning how to write shit? So I
Yeah,
said, yeah, and I said, okay. I said, let me try something else. I said, because I had a group of kids try to figure out how to work a drone. I bought a small little drone for them. I really tried to get them into mad shit.
yeah.
So yeah, so they went outside. After about like 10, 15 minutes, one of them came back and said, "Oh, we figured it out." So I was happy about that. I was actually like, yo, like excited. So I got my phone this time and I recorded them trying to, and I told them, "How did you guys do it?" And I recorded it. So and the reason for that was so if they wanted to learn how to do it or whatever, it's recorded, so they can always go back. They don't have to look at something written on a sheet of paper. You know what I'm saying? To
Yeah,
figure this
bro.
out.
So let me
You
let me let me ask you a question now. So,
Go ahead.
how much were you making at the time? Like, let's
Ooh,
say a month.
oh wow. Okay, so when I was on Maui,
Whenever
doing
you're
that
when
job,
you were investing in these things, like the drone and the VR headset and stuff, when you're investing in this kind of stuff,
hmm
how much was your salary about? Approximately. I'm not trying to get in your personal. This is just to make a
no, no,
point.
no. This is a good question, this is a great question. So I was only making because I was only doing that job, and I was helping kids on the bus and all that, disabled kids. So I was probably making no, I was probably making less than 15,000 so a
A
month.
year,
So I was probably making like $1,000. You know what I mean? Something like that.
a month.
So I wasn't
Okay.
making a lot
And
of
you're
money.
making $1,000 a month, which is
Right,
like a quarter of what they say a person needs to live in America by themselves,
right,
right? And you still have the money to keep this whole group of kids super fucking um, occupied. Like busy, keep them entertained. Like,
right. Or
how hard
and
is it for
also
the government to put? How much do they have to put up? Because you're still living, you're still eating, you're still paying all your bills, whatever it is. How hard is
yeah,
it for government to put pools in the schools? Okay, they got to go outside. They got no one to watch them. Put a pool. Put a guy to watch the pool. Put a couple lifeguards. Boom. Kids can
right.
become lifeguards too. Like,
Exactly. They could
listen, you
train
can
them.
do so much shit. And then on top of that, like you said, the VR thing. It's not that. I mean, I get not putting video games in schools, but you can do other stuff. You can put other kind. You can give drones and shit, like you were saying. You can have a couple
hmm
drones. I mean, shit. The kid can be responsible for it. Not that you gotta like charge him with breaks or nothing, but like he's
Yeah.
gonna make sure that they're not fighting over it and shit. You get a time limit or something.
And VR you can use for training too. Whatever you want to learn.
Yes.
Who knows, CPR or something,
What
or
I'm yeah, and what I'm
upgrade
saying is not that much
electronics.
money. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can do VR little programs for people on recess if you want to. Exactly. Yeah,
like
like
it could be part of the lesson plan, a virtual.
I mean, even if it's not, like you give that to them as an option, they'll want to do
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, oh, you want to do this instead on recess? Go to the gym, and the gym teacher's down there, and he's running the VR headsets that do teach you CPR and whatever else you want to learn.
Right.
That they
And
can
then and the
do.
thing and at the time, like I was living a certain way. Like Maui is always hot. You know what I mean? It's no snow. It's not cold. It gets cold, like, but not as as you think it is. So I used to camp, but I had ways to take showers and shit like that. So I was able to have the money, but I poured all my money into doing shit like this. You know
But
what
yeah,
I'm
but
saying?
listen,
Like,
dude, I get all that, but I'm just saying, like, it still just makes a point that
right.
the government, okay, let's just say they say we just do the VR headset thing. We put 10 VR headsets in every school in the country, right? To
Mm-hmm.
save money, we get a deal from the VR company, Sony or somebody. Like, yo, let us get a whole bunch of headsets, right? At the same time, let us get one cell phone for each of those headsets. That's what we're gonna run the video game off of. It's cheaper that way. We don't gotta buy like a video game system. Buy cell
No,
phones. that have a login or whatever, have a whole bunch of then you download the programs for it. Let me get a deal on that since I'm buying 200,000 of them or 2 million of them, right? And on top of that, I want to get some apps on there. I'm gonna contact the app companies. Maybe they'll donate the apps to the schools.
Hell yeah. You know what I mean? And the thing is,
Dubs right there.
the like you said, it's cheaper to just to get the phone and stuff like that with it. And a lot of the times, a lot of these VR headsets, there's so many kinds of them. So there's some cheap ones. There's not some of them are not even that expensive, you know.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
but right. So what I did, honestly, like what I did, I just created an environment for that is suitable for them. You know what I'm saying? And it worked to some degree. And but the issue is if you got other kids that still like to play on the playground and shit, and they come in, you know, the kids because they're in that environment is consistently they learn how to work together. You know, they learn how to, you know, they realize that okay, if I want to get into something, I got to move around. You know, I can't just stay in one spot. You know,
Yeah.
like they teach them in school, stay in the seat all day and shit. They got to move around. You know, and
And
so when you got kids coming in, you know, they're not trained. I get that's what I like to say. They're not trained. So they come in, they fuck shit up. They got shitty attitudes. They fuck with the kids. They take shit away from them. When these kids that is in this environment, they're sharing and stuff. They're working together. They're not trying to take from each other and shit and argue. So if you're gonna work with if you're gonna work with some of them, you have to work with all of them. You know what I mean?
yeah, and
And then
there has to be special
no, go ahead.
attention paid to all the children in the park. You see
Yeah.
like kids that
Right,
aren't playing on the playground and aren't taking part in the other activities that are available at that point. There needs to be somebody there taking notice on that and saying, "Yo, what could we make happen here that would be entertaining to you, that keep you busy, and maybe
right,
it's healthy for you, either your mind or your body in some type of way." And get that kind of feedback from people and kids.
right. And that's why you know I was presented with a question because I tried to do a little tour at this place called the Paella Youth Center, and these people got everything you can think of a kid could probably like. You know what I'm saying? And you know, just like you said, you know, but in a different way. I mean, just like you said, but the question you asked, you know, how can we get this rolling and all that? How can we get other kids involved? You know, this lady presented me with a question. Well, she said because I seen everything, and I couldn't think of. Well, I had something in the works, but it was incomplete. But she was saying like questions like, "What can you offer that isn't already here?" You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it may really if you think they have everything, it's really hard to answer. You know what I'm saying so you got to
Or if
sit
they don't
back
have any
and
problems.
you're thinking about this, it's really a hard question to ask for real.
Well, sometimes
So
the problems are just
yeah,
aren't
so what
obvious.
can
So
you
what you gotta
offer?
do is
And
present their issues to them instead of like offering them something that they don't think they need. Tell them what they need and why they need it.
exactly, I agree to that. You know, but I love the question. You know, because it just makes you think.
Yeah.
You know, so
But
now for now on, when I set up these environments, I'm always thinking that. Like so hold on, let me get into this though. So when I was at Alika Elementary, which is an elementary school in Maui, was I did the
Maui,
exact
Hawaii,
same
by the
stuff.
way, right?
Um, yes, and I did the exact same stuff, but it was different. I had to adapt, you know, so I couldn't go in the cafeteria, you know what I mean, set it up. I had to be outside with the kids. I couldn't, you know, leave the kids. So what I noticed with them is, you know, I'm dealing with like second and third graders, all right. So I see them digging in the dirt, you know what I mean? You know what I explained earlier with broken utensils, like plastic utensils in their hands, and that shit bothered me. So I was like, man, let me go buy them something, you know, real quick. Let me get a couple of spoons. Like, and these things were like $1 each one. So I bought one because and sometimes what people don't realize, kids fight not because they don't can't get along. It's because you got one kid that want the same thing the other kid got, and it's scarce, you know. So sometimes you have to buy multiple more than one of the same item. So that's what I did. I bought a couple of them just in case, and I gave them those, and they began to dig up the dirt. Then evolved from that to I bought them shovels, and then it evolved from that to okay, how can I make it more exciting for them? You know what I mean? So what I did was I bought jewels, like these fake jewels, and I
Hmm.
dug up the hole that they dug up, and I put the jewels and I put the dirt back over it, and they didn't know. So when they got there and they dug that shit up, they was excited as hell.
Yeah.
They dug the shit up, you know what I mean? And they was like, "Oh
Yo,
shit!" And I said, "Yo." I said, yo, let's make these and maybe we can give them to the other kids. Maybe we can make jewelry for the other kids. It was like, yeah, we can do that. You know what I mean? It was so excited. I used to bring an art
But
because
bro,
I see
bro, you know they're
what.
gonna go digging around now and trying to find
Yeah.
more, trying to
but
find
that but
more.
see
But at the same
but
time,
see
you might
that's
have
the
inspired a whole generation of archaeologists or, ecologists or something.
exactly.
They're like, oh, I dug up a hermit crab. Like, this is sweet. I want to do
Oh,
this.
how many kids out in Maui right now just digging holes in their backyards? Their dog getting yelled at. The dog's getting his ass whooped, and this fucking the kids digging holes
Oh shit.
because of
Nah,
because
but
of Mir.
but yeah, I would bring in like art books, because I seen a lot of kids they didn't know how to draw certain things. So I went to the used bookstore, secondhand bookstore, bought this like tutorial on how to draw like people's faces,
Yeah,
dolphins, cats,
yeah.
shit like that.
Books that
And I
kids
bought
would
that,
like.
and then I had bought some, and they kids like that. They used to always want to do that.
Oh yeah,
So and then what I did was I created a game. So it was nothing competitive. It was more like they had to work together. So they had to be on one end of the field, but on the other end they had to get to the other end of the field by passing the ball to each other without dropping the shit. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I did shit like that, and they worked together. A lot of kids complain, but what I did to get around that was if they would complain right when they get to the line with enough kids who were into it, got to the line, they were ready to go. The moment the kids complained, I said, go. The motherfuckers couldn't complain. They had to run with the group, catch the ball, and then get to it eventually, and playing it like 5 or 10 times, they see the benefit. And they love that shit, man. But the
Of
idea
course.
was, yeah, but the idea was to get them to learn how to play more cooperative games because a lot of the schools they reinforce competition. You know what I'm saying? Fighting
Mhm.
each other, constantly arguing, jealousy, envy,
Well, competition's
stress,
good in some
all
senses.
kinds of shit. But playing cooperative,
Yeah.
right? But at
Well,
the end of the day, it still creates those problems. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and what I'm gonna
So
say
and then
now is like it's really great, to always try to head and find these problems at the bottom of them, But really,
right,
there
right.
needs to be solutions higher up than just like, you're making a big impact on the children that you're around, obviously, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that's how many children out of all the children in the world, in the country.
But exactly. But the thing is, what I said earlier, all this is experimental.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I'm doing this to try to see if I can get to any child. So that's why I created the name Interkinetics, or something like that. That's how all of that was born out of that. And then I evolved into middle school. I had to adapt once again. So I used to take my bags and shit. You know what I mean? Let me just finish with the kids at Lehigh Kai. So I realized that you can get there was in my head I'm thinking there's a formula you can get kids into anything. All you have to do is do something like what I said earlier, putting the beads in the dirt, and getting them into that. You know what I'm saying? They oh shit, like that's cool, like anything.
Inspiring
Get
them.
them in the drawing. You can get them like I seen one kid they were playing with the water fountain, just like let's just say right, but yeah. So she was playing with the water fountain, and then I noticed that the kids took this bucket that I bought for the thing, and they put water in it, and then she put a leaf on top of it, and she asked me, "How did that float? How does it do that?" And I said, "Wow, that's interesting." So I encouraged that. I told her,
Yeah.
whatever, and she decided to put more shit in it, more shit in it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then what I was going to do with that is just try to get a big thing and then have them help me build a boat. I never got to it,
Well, that's
but if I would have
science right
kept that
there.
up, you
Yeah.
would have had mad kids into boats, buoyancy, all that kind of shit.
Fucking
Yeah.
Bill Nye,
Right.
bro, out in
So
Hawaii.
so like right. And then I got to the middle school. Now I thought I couldn't get to middle school kids, but I was able to do so. But I had to travel different classrooms. I actually worked at the school, so during the day, so I had to travel around. So I used to have to buy a bunch of gadgets and shit, and I had it in a bag, and I would carry it with me every time I would go to each class because I noticed each kid would finish their computer work fast and they would have like 15 minutes of doing nothing, so I would present these things to them and I would get them into like circuits and all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
And I set up one thing one time where I just had this random shit set out, and I actually recorded
them doing this stuff. Like I recorded them when they would get excited,
Yeah.
everything. And what I did was, and I learned a lot from that. I have recordings and everything, and then I tried to graph it, so I knew when they got excited, at which points and shit, So what I'm doing here is an all-out investigation here,
I
and
mean,
and trying
you're
to
studying the psychology of children. I mean,
right,
and the system, the school system that they're put in. But
right.
really, like, I mean, it's really good. It's good information and stuff you're getting.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, what are you going to use all this information for? Are you going to create like a YouTube channel where you can try to spread this to as many kids as possible, or are you going to
Mhm.
try
Well,
to
what I
are
what
you
I'm what I'm trying
sell a program to schools?
what I'm trying to do, that's a good question. So what I'm trying to do right now, is continue to do the research, to learn as much as I can, because it's whatever I have now may change later. I may have to adapt, learn something new, but right now what I'm doing is writing a book, and writing a book, and I'm also I want others to adopt this kind of mindset that I have. Well, how do I get them, to other teachers and parents, to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I was in Maui, I told you I camped a lot. But what
Yeah.
I did was, I sort of created my own world. I mean, if I'm gonna put it like that. And what I did was is I tried to build. I worked with plants. I used to like catch little chickens and try to put them in different environments to see what worked for them. I used to work with electronics. I used to try to build shoes, build backpacks. I did all kinds of shit. Anything.
Yeah.
I took big ass PVC pipes and built like these like makeshift structures out of them and stuff to see if I could put them together and things like that. And so I was always into shit. Like I was always trying to understand the world around me and how things work, and all of that. So instead of me wanting, and at the time I had a shower, I had the food all for free. I barely paid for anything that I while I was there.
Yeah, but
So
you were camping
I
outside
said
though.
to myself, well, what do I do with my time? You know what I mean? And that's the shit that I was doing.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, yeah, so I
Well,
had everything.
I just want to say that because I didn't know if it came through. I just wanted to make
No,
sure.
it's nah, yeah, for sure. So I was camping, and that's the stuff that I was doing. And but that came about by asking myself, what do I want to do with my time? I got into photography, everything. So if you and nowadays a lot of people are getting tiny houses, you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff, and they pay for everything. You know what I'm saying? And they get solar panels. They want to be off the grid as much as possible, but they don't want to have to pay for too much either, like high
So
mortgages, high electricity bills, and all of that. And then pretty much now that they're able to cut back on a lot of expenses, and they're only paying for certain things, they have more time for themselves to find out what they love to do. So they venture into businesses, they get into photography,
okay,
things
but
like that. Just like me, like I have way.
listen though. I got a question
Go ahead.
though. I just want to emphasize
Mhm.
a couple things.
Yeah,
So you say you're camping
yeah,
outside,
go ahead.
right? Most people hear
Yeah,
that and they hear you're homeless. Okay,
right,
so
of
then
course.
okay,
But
so you're what then you say whenever you're in that situation, you have more time to know what you want to do and figure out a da da da. But also at the same
hmm
time, when you say homeless to somebody, they think of the person that's standing on the corner with a sign trying to beg for money.
hmm
And what about
nah,
those guys? They're not, figuring out their life. They're not they're sitting there getting money for beer and drugs most of the time. Most of the time, not all the time. But and they're not
right,
trying to
right.
fucking figure out their life and make a plan and saving money and being economical. They're just actually just homeless and getting high.
Right. And so that's why I think it's important to work with the kids, because a lot of times who gave them the incentive to want to not do those, who no one reinforced those people to want to do those things in the first place. Those people that's on the street and on the corner, they came from the same school system you, me, and everybody else came from, a shitty school system. So
Yeah.
if you could change the upbringing, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
to
Systemic.
literally, like, if you
Oh,
think
of
about it,
course.
you
That needs to
work with the
happen.
children. Right. You can solve a lot of fucking problems. I'm not saying you can solve all of them, but you can solve some problems. Like, even if, like, for me, I was as a young kid growing up, I used to watch the Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, all that shit. I watched cartoons and shit, but I used to watch some Survivor Man. I used to watch all of that stuff,
Well, you
and I
can
was
watch
interested in
Dexter's
those things. And it and it
Laboratory and
and
you'll
it
learn a
came
lot.
out when I guess it reinforced me, into being the person that I am today. You know what I'm saying? And I was never really a street kid, never was in the gangs and shit like that. So really it all depends on the environment you're brought up in. Like me, I was brought up in that kind of stuff. I barely went outside sometimes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So a lot of these guys, whoever's doing drugs, whatever the case may be, these are some underlying issues, and they're dealing with it, by using drugs.
But
But
I want to
and a lot of
clarify.
kids,
It's
they hang out
different.
at
It's different
malls,
whenever you
they hang
choose to
out
be
in, they go
homeless.
to parties. Oh, yeah, it is different. Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, if I'm willing to be in that situation and still do the things that I was doing, you know,
Well, you weren't standing on
that's
the
good for
corner
me
either, right?
because
You
I'm
weren't
able
standing on the
to.
corner with a sign.
Hell no, no, hell no.
You
So the
might,
thing is,
if anything, you might be on the street selling some art or something.
right? But the idea is
But
that you could be homeless and still love and still figure out what the hell you want to do with yourself.
hell
That's the
yeah.
idea. You know what I mean? So
I
that's what
mean,
I'm saying. Like,
I think being choosing to be homeless is probably a very liberating thing and a very mentally healthy thing. As long as
right.
you know, as long as you have certain standards for yourself,
Well,
like you're
of
not going to
course,
stand on the corner and you're not going to get high unless you got some extra
of
money that
course.
you want to buy a bag of weed or something to smoke it, but you're not going to be doing meth every day,
Oh no, yeah, yeah, definitely not. I
you
never
know,
indulged into any of that weird
or
shit.
any drug, any hard drugs or whatever it is. I'm just saying, it's one thing
But
if you
the
have a
but
beer every now and then because you have a couple bucks to
Mhm.
spare, but you know,
Right. But the point is, man, is like you basically, even if like I was homeless, again, I had the time, so and I've always learned to work with kids. I love working with kids. So my thing is, I feel like you can avoid a lot of issues, man, if you start with them young, learn to develop or create different environments that work for certain kinds of kids or for all of them. And that takes
yeah,
time because you have to rearrange things sometimes a certain way, or before they come in, you don't tell them to have a seat. You know what I mean? You say, "Yo, I got food over there on the desk. You guys can get apples and oranges, and then also you have your sweets." But you educate them. You say, "Okay, well, if you eat this, then just be warned that you might have pimples on your face, you might be fat, or whatever the case may be." So you kind of set the tone, and then when they
yeah.
come in, they're not being told that they got to do artwork. They got 3D printers and 3D pens around. They got artwork. They got clay they could use to do stuff. And you also, I think YouTube can be extensional, so
Well,
it'll show them how to do it. And you don't have to force them to watch it. It's
and I
just
was
there if
thinking
they
on
need
top of your book.
it.
On top of your book, man, you should start doing YouTube videos of everything you got, like already. Like you could do it right on your
Yeah.
phone, and it only take you seconds. And
That's true.
I mean, you can put little lessons in there and make it fun for kids, just like what you just said, that water and the leaf thing, the leaf floating on the water. You can go into
hmm
that, and then you can try different things out and just explain it to kids, and make a YouTube for kids channel about learning.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should try that for sure, because I'm always trying to figure out how to adapt, change my situation, because I don't want to be doing the same stuff. Because you, like with the virus, for example, you
We'll
can't
always be
go
doing
into.
something.
Yeah, exactly. You
Start
can't,
putting that
and right
information
now,
to use right away.
right, and
Do you
then
have a
also
YouTube
creating.
channel?
Yeah, I do, but I barely use it.
Well, you should start uploading to it. What's the YouTube channel so everybody knows that's watching?
Okay, so it's called Interkinetics. What it's called mainly. That's the YouTube channel. So you can just look it up, and there should be a white and blue logo, and it'll just say Interkinetics at the bottom.
Okay,
So that's
Interkinetics.
what it is. If you want to check it out, I'll definitely upload. Yes.
Okay, if you guys
So
are
you
watching
type
this
that
on
in.
YouTube,
It's
we'll have a link to
IN.
it in the description, by the way, and also
Yeah.
look out for videos. Hopefully, there'll be some videos on there soon.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then thanks for bringing that up, because I thought about it, but I was so busy thinking about other ways to get to children too on time off, because I start back at my school job August the 4th, so I'm still trying to figure out different ways to get kids interested in mad shit. You know
Man,
what I mean?
but
So
yeah, might as well attack it at every angle.
yeah, exactly. But the idea though is to what I want is to contribute to the change and the way school is, like how it operates, how they teach children, all kinds
Reform
of
the
stuff. Really,
curriculum,
we don't really
reform
need to
the
teach
whole
the
structure of everything.
yeah, right. I'm not saying I could do it myself,
But that's what
but I can
that's what your book's going to be about.
right, and also being able to what I'm hoping to do one day, man, is to be able to create a kind of a workshop where teachers and parents can come and they learn how to work with their kids in sort of a different way. For in other words, a lot of times in schools, the kid comes in, he has to sit down, have a seat, whatever, and he has to be quiet. He can't talk while the teacher's talking. There's some teachers that are like that, not all of them, but there's some that are like that, and you can't do anything. And in the environment I'm talking about is like, if a kid is if they're in environments that I just talked about earlier, where they're rotating, trying different things out, and they see a butterfly flying in the room, you know what I'm saying, and the butterfly captures one of the kids' attention, and he's really loud. Oh wow, look what's in the air. And the teacher, instead of saying shut up or quiet down or whatever they say, they'll say, oh wow, I see it too. And the kid will say, well, how come there's patterns on the wings? And the teacher honestly says, which a lot of teachers do not do, I don't know. But what you can do is that there's a library across, and you can also use the
Yeah.
computer if you want to look it up. And when you finish, if you whatever you learn, come back and teach me something. Because at the end of the day, it's not just the teacher. Both the teacher is just as much as a student as a student. You know what I mean?
I felt like
So
all my teachers never knew shit.
Yeah, yeah. Or like, they were there to get a paycheck sometimes. They didn't know how to work with kids, which kind of
yeah,
reinforces your whole MO.
Yeah, they're learning to teach they're taught to teach like college level people, but the people can't get the
hmm
college level from these teachers that aren't
nah, I agree.
capable of teaching them, and there's a lot of things that go into like school reform, but I think the way you treat the kids is definitely the number one thing. So it seems like you're onto something there, dude.
Yeah.
Right, and the environment is very important to change. If you want a different relationship between the so-called teacher and the child, you have to change the environment. You have to, you have to make the situation so exciting that I've seen this, a teacher, like, she has special ed children, okay, and she had a lesson for them. This lady had to be like 80 years old. Okay, and these kids that are so-called special ed, she said, you know what, guys, I'm not gonna do the lesson today. She did this. She said, I'm not gonna do the lesson today. Had them in a circle and shit. And she said, you know what do you guys want to talk about? they
Hmm.
did. They brought up politics and shit. And these kids were supposed to be special ed now. And they were talking about current world affairs and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Social issues. It was crazy. And I was shocked that she did that because, they have what happens with a lot of teachers, they got people that check on the teachers and make sure they're teaching the way they're supposed to be teaching, you know. But nobody was there, so she just whatever,
Okay,
So
so I just want to
nah,
run it
go ahead.
down. So your plans pretty much are to keep working with children and then build up
Yeah,
this workshop and build up this book that is going to be like reforming the way that schools work pretty much and maybe start some YouTube videos.
yeah. Start some YouTube videos, but not reforming schools, but getting people into working on
Well,
changing,
reforming this,
re,
restructuring them,
Yeah, like how to
right,
engage kids, you know.
restructuring the way that they treat people, pretty much.
right. Work with each other. How do they change the environment so when a kid comes in, he likes what he automatically excited to come in. He doesn't have in his conscience, in the back of his mind, he doesn't know that he's gonna have to come in and have a seat. Like, there's always gonna be something different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So always rearranging and changing. So, but yeah, basically. So and thank you for the advice on the YouTube.
yeah,
Definitely
dude.
want to start doing that.
I'll be happy to watch every episode and share it on all our pages and shit
Oh
every
yeah,
time
me
you put
too.
them out.
All right.
But
For sure. I do that. No, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say thanks for being on here. Is there anything else you want to say? I mean,
I would say, nah, not really. You know what I mean? I think I covered everything. I'm glad that you guys had me on. I'm glad that you guys were able to allow me to express my ideas and, get them out there. And, I just want to say I really appreciate that.
yeah, man. Where can we find you at besides the YouTube? We have the YouTube. Also, message me the YouTube link and I can put that in the page, just so in case I don't spell it right.
Okay,
But
and I'll also you can find me on Facebook. Find me on Instagram. You know what I mean. The Instagram is Interkinetics, but a lot of the stuff is just artwork and
yeah,
whatnot. So if you want, you can find me there. But honestly, just go on to YouTube or I'll go on my website at the website. I think I sent you the website in your thing. If not, I'll definitely just send it to you and you can just post it and put it up there.
yeah, and I mean, so all these pages that you just told us about, we'll put all
Hmm.
that stuff in the description below. I'll get all that info from you later, and we'll
Okay.
put it in. If you're watching the YouTube video, I'll have all that info available already.
Right.
But on top of that, people can go and join these things and then share their ideas with you that are
Right.
in the same
That's the
vein, or their art or their projects and stuff, right?
right, and that's the idea. Yes.
So you want to promote that. So you want anybody that's watching that wants to go and do that. Those links are going to be in the description. If you're watching this live, go wait till the YouTube video comes out in a couple days, maybe tomorrow. We'll see,
Hmm.
and all the info will be there ready for you. If not, you can look up right now
Interconnects.
Interkinetics.
Interkinetics on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Thanks, Jamir Brunson, man. Thank you again, dude.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
You have a lot
Yeah.
of
Thank
good
you.
information, and it's good to
Yeah,
good to hear that kind of
yeah, it's a
stuff.
nice change of pace, from our.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for real, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
man. Have a good one.
Yeah, be safe, man.
You too. All right, you too.
Yep.
All right.
All right, guys. So this has been the Factual or Practical podcast. I'm Jump on Turtles,
And Charlie,
and this sound effect just keeps going.
well, I mean, he did so good. I guess they just
They did this. The people just
did
kept
it.
cheering.
Yeah, it's a standing ovation.
Nice, man. That was a good podcast. We talked about a lot of stuff. Next week we'll probably have Captain Quasar back. He wants to
Okay.
come back.
All right, yeah.
But we'll have some more topics. Hopefully, not too much crazy shit happens, and we can just have a fun podcast. That'd be cool.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. This wasn't on Facebook this time. I kind of realized that about halfway through it,
Oh,
because I don't know if I can do that straight with this new way I'm doing it. We'll figure it all out. But yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for watching, and everybody have a great life.
God bless.
See you next episode.